Hi, I'm Victoria, a licensed esthetician, business owner, and an influencer with over 27,000 followers on Instagram. And this is my business partner and husband, Chris. This is your Besthetician. So today we're going to talk about how to attract your ideal clientele and the mistakes that we've made along the way and how we have figured out our ideal clientele.
Yeah.
So, I want to talk first about when we first opened the business and how I wanted to literally take in any client that I could get. And in the long run, this definitely hurt me. I mean, it was good, it felt good in the moment, but long term, it didn't get me, my ideal clientele and what, was constant revenue each month
Yeah,
and
that was a struggle for both of us when we first started. I mean, there is like this
desperation.
desperation when you
Jinx.
when you open up a business to go, we need. I mean, we did need clients, right? So I
Yes.
think,
It's okay to be
yeah,
desperate at first.
yeah. Well, okay, well, that's a hard thing to say, but yeah, I do think there's a fine line when opening up the doors because I think it's easier to get pickier the more you're in business. So I do
Yes.
think there is some like really fuzzy lines
Fight or
moving.
flight.
Yeah, like where we needed, like if clients didn't come in, the business closed down, and we're in a unique situation which we can talk about later. But we didn't have the option of no clients. There
Yeah.
wasn't an option of like well, we'll wait for our ideal clientele next month.
Yeah.
So we did get a little bit very desperate, and I mean desperate is relative, but we
I
were
mean,
trying
they
to
were
find,
good
yeah,
people, good
anybody that
clients,
we could find
quality.
to come in the
Yeah.
door. So I want you to talk about a little bit. I mean, just in general, because I think our thought process wasn't even fully there of what a dream or an ideal clientele was. But first, let me explain a little bit, just in case you don't know, of a dream or ideal clientele, what that really means. And I think there's some levels there with a dream or ideal clientele. With every esthetician, everybody is an expert in different areas. Everybody has different passions. So your dream or your ideal clientele is somebody who, first off, you love treating, right? That's why it's your dream. Somebody that when you go into work every day, this is the perfect person. So if you're a waxer, it's somebody who comes in every single month and gets the full wax. If you're somebody who's into acne, it's an acne boot camper who's there every single 2 weeks, no matter what. And then when they're out of their acne boot camper, getting through their acne, they start on a microneedling or some kind of micro channeling. So that's your dream or your ideal
Wow.
clientele, stuff that you generally just love, right? Did you
You
say
know a lot
ballin'?
of no, I was like, wow, a lot of treatments
Oh
over
yeah,
here.
yeah. We're
You should
we're,
be an
we're yeah, we
esthetician.
are a tag team. But yeah, so your dream is somebody that's going to stay along with you through your entire process of those things, specific things of what you really love to do. And I don't think you fully understood what you loved when we first started the business. So you can talk a little bit about that, of like when you got started, what things maybe you thought you loved, what things that you thought you're more interested in, and then
Mhm.
how you found, I mean, what that dream clientele or dream client looked like.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, the amount of when we first opened, we ran a special. So that was also really confusing because majority of the people wanted to come in for a special.
Hmm.
So even just trying to figure out my ideal clientele was so confusing. And on another note, comparing myself to all these other estheticians that offer every service in the book
Mm,
and thinking to myself, oh my gosh, I have to offer this,
yeah.
this, 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 this. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, side note, thank goodness I didn't invest into every single product that I saw because like you have to look at your clients and who you're trading and what your dream is. Like what you love being an esthetician, obviously, or whatever industry you're in, and showing up to work every single day, you have to
Mm,
love what you do.
yeah.
So I get so excited when I go into work and I have a full day of hydrofacial.
Yeah.
And I think that's what shows you, okay, what is my ideal clientele? I get along with literally like 40-year-olds and up, and I love anti-aging treatments.
Yeah.
I'm also a laser technician, and that's also what, inspired me to get into more advanced treatments was the medical side of aesthetics of having, my clients that want to treat fine lines, pigment, even if it's pigmentation, if it's, you know, sun damage, texture in the skin. But with that being said, I love
Yeah.
anti-aging and I love those
Yeah.
treatments.
But like, I mean, even getting to that point. So I know, I mean, we both knew you love those treatments. We didn't have a
Yeah,
hydrofacial when we opened up, but like you did go through Face Reality's program early on.
yeah,
Like, what made you take the step to go through? And not that it was right or wrong, but like, I
yeah,
mean, and then what is your thoughts of you going through Face Reality's program and bringing Face
yeah.
Reality on, decent, early on in the
I
business?
mean, honestly, face reality is amazing, and the knowledge that I've learned from face reality has helped me even treat anti-aging
Yeah.
clients. It has honestly tied into my practice super well. I'm super passionate about anti-aging, and I've also, I've discovered a huge love for acne. Like
Yeah.
especially like this past year, I have learned how to treat it, and it's just something that people, like it's another side of self-confidence that people don't, that people are missing, and
Yeah.
there's like a lot of people who don't know the answer, and it's so sad. So I mean, just tying that in with my anti-aging treatments and the knowledge that I've learned, and it's helped me, attract my ideal
Yeah. So
clientele.
I think so with that, like you've been able to tie it in.
Yeah,
But I also, speaking to other estheticians that maybe don't have the option to say bring on hydrofacial and acne boot camp,
yeah,
or not acne boot camp, but at face reality and doing acne boot camp, I do think it is important to think about what you love to do. So
yeah.
for you, I think we really dove when we figured it out. You dove into the anti-aging, you dove into the older audience, and then you were able to utilize the information that Face Reality gave to use for both.
Yes.
And you do have acne
Because
clients
acne, it
now,
can be
right?
at any age. So
Of
that's the
course, yeah.
thing is like, I think that face reality filled a gap that I was always missing
Mm,
because, Skin Better is amazing and it's the best it's the best line for anti-aging in my
hmm.
opinion. But there was a gap missing
Yeah,
in my clientele of like, okay, if somebody is dealing with, hormonal acne, how can I treat that? How can
yeah,
I help them? And to be honest, I know that it's probably an unpopular opinion, but clearing serum made a lot of my clients worse. So,
yeah,
honoring my clients at the end of the day and seeing what whoever is in your practice and you're seeing, okay, who am I seeing majority of and
hmm,
like what is the majority of the problem? If
yeah,
it's majority of anti-aging, majority of like anti-aging with like occasional like hormonal breakouts. And that's a lot of what I'm seeing. I'm
yeah,
seeing a lot of like anti-aging and a lot of hormonal
yeah,
acne, like
yeah,
from women who are
yeah.
even in their 30s,
Yeah. So I
40s.
think that's important of when and that also it goes back into like you found what your dream clientele
Hmm.
and what people like them were struggling with, and
Yeah,
those were the things that you focused on. And I think
definitely.
that's what we always recommend for estheticians because I mean, I'm on the Instagram, so I see things as well, or she talks to me about them of what do I start out with? What's
Yeah,
the line I should go with? And as you just heard, Skin Better is amazing for anti-aging, and then you have the Face Reality that's very acne focused.
yeah,
But those things are also super super important about what products you're bringing on, what's your back bar, what machines you're bringing on,
hmm,
and then offering things like Acne Boot Camp.
yeah.
You have to know your clientele.
Yes. And I think just thinking out loud, I think it's figuring out like don't obviously start with two different niches at once because
Yeah,
I figured out face reality once I, figured out what my clients needed.
yeah,
But I think face reality is an amazing course if you want to, learn more about acne.
yeah,
I would definitely recommend that course. But I started with my ideal clientele was anti-aging. I'm like, okay, I didn't even know at the time that's what I wanted, but
hmm,
like I would say 90% of my clients do hydrofacial each
yeah,
month, or, everybody that I recommend, to do hydrofacial is, people that come into my clinic. But face reality was a gap that I was able to tie in with my
yeah,
expertise. And now I can even treat people who have, severe acne. And I have developed a huge passion for it as
hmm,
well because I didn't know how to treat it
yeah,
properly because you see all these other estheticians clearing people with so many different things. And
yeah,
it's like, it becomes so overwhelming. Like I said, back to the beginning, you feel like you have to offer every single
yeah,
treatment to become the best esthetician you can. But no, it's like you don't have to have a million product lines. You don't have to have a million, different services. So
Yeah.
I think it comes down to starting with your niche and then
Yep.
figuring out holes and
Yeah.
gaps that you can fill that
And then
with.
I think even finding your niche, I would be just patient on that, right? Like
Yes.
don't try to rush into it and go, well, this is my niche, right? Treat some clients. I mean, we opened up. I mean, it feels like a mistake we made, like running the specials and taking anybody we could possibly. Victoria was coming in on like a Sunday for one client when we opened up the doors because we
Yeah.
needed to get people in. But because of her taking those people and taking the risk and doing something that was really hard, it
Hmm.
was able for her to find these are the people that I like,
Yeah.
right? Like, and it went down to like the schedule. We were able to schedule better when she found her dream clientele. She noticed her dream clientele usually comes in on Mondays, Wednesdays,
Yeah.
and
And that's why
Thursdays, right?
I don't work Saturdays and Sundays.
And
It's not my
yeah, and
clientele.
it seems like a controversial thing of like, well, why would you Saturdays? Everyone's off on Saturdays. Like, well, your clientele doesn't book Saturdays.
Yeah.
So why open up a Saturday? And I think that's important for young estheticians that are jumping in and feeling the grounds, or they already know what their passion is. If
Yeah.
your passion is acne and you want to treat acne like that's everything, you know that weekends are most likely weekends and evenings
You're
might be
one step
better.
ahead of what we
Yeah,
were,
exactly. But you
you
might
know?
know that, like, okay, most people who struggle with acne tend to be younger, might
Yeah.
be younger than 25. So if they're younger than 25, evenings and weekends work best because they're in high school or college,
Yeah.
right? You might know that your target audience might be the parents of the acne,
Yeah.
people who have acne. So those are things that you're going to want to look at and really figure out. And maybe you won't know when you open the doors.
Yeah.
We did not know we opened up the doors.
Yeah.
So, be willing to take the chance, figure out what that I
Mhm.
dream and ideal clientele is,
Yeah.
and then cater to them.
Yeah. Cause
Right.
it's so normal to like open up a business and you're like, okay, I'm going to open up all my services so that whoever
Yep.
stumbles across my page,
Yep.
they will book with me. But
Yep.
it's like, no, like long term, like my best clients are the ones that I have, really like they're in my niche,
Yep.
they are my ideal clientele. And I know that they trust me and that they will spend whatever because they trust me,
Yep.
So it just comes down to knowing your ideal clientele and you will start to understand like who that is the more that you put that practice into what your
Yep.
ideal clientele is.
And if you already have that gut feeling, go along with it. If you have that
Definitely.
passion and you already know what it is, then you can cut out some of these, mistakes that we've made. But I would just recommend you really dive in towards that and go right after it.
Yeah, no, definitely. With that being said, let's go ahead and wrap this video up. If you have any questions, be sure to leave it in the comment section below. Follow us at Skin by UAZ on Instagram. And we are so happy that you're here and hope to see you again soon.